Welcome to Education 101 with your host, Eric Wolfram. Education 101 is about the amazing education community we have in the greater Spokane area. We highlight the outstanding programs, teachers, supporters, and opportunities of the education community in the Spokane region. Education 101 is brought to you in part by STCU. Here's Eric.
And welcome to Education 101. I'm your host, Eric Wolfram. Today we're going to be talking about access to experience. How do we bring the business community together with education community and try to do some matching up with that? So to talk about that with me, we have Cassidy Peterson from GSI. And Cassidy, you're the Career Connected Learning Program Manager. Is that right? Welcome.
Long enough, yep.
And Tyler Lafferty, who's the principal and co-founder of 7-2, and has a lot of background about access to experience, which is the platform that we're going to talk about today. So both of you, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I know that this has been, I've gotten the chance to kind of be part of this as well along the way and see it kind of from its beginning and where it is today, which is actually it's up and going, and we're ready to kind of get some population of having people in there. Let's talk a little bit about what this platform is, kind of where it came from, and then we'll get into how people can access it as well down the road.
So, thanks, Eric. And believe it or not, the kind of genesis of this idea started 20 years ago.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And I've been speaking in classrooms for about 20 years, and I love it. I love getting in and getting kids to hear new things, new ideas, new career possibilities, that kind of thing. And so I've created a lot of relationship with educators over the years. They brought me in, and I do it on a regular basis, and I love to get in there. Well, what I kept hearing was, Tyler, thank you so much for coming, but can you connect me with all of your friends and anyone else who would be willing to come in? And
Sure.
you know, teachers love to have the real world in their classrooms. They love to get someone who lives it every single day. And of course, you hear teachers joke about, they'll make, hey, I just said that to you, last week, and then this, person from the professional world comes in and say it, and you're like, wow, yeah,
That's
right?
exactly right. Yeah.
But it's true, right? You get these real world examples.
That's right.
And kids, students start to really understand, wow, I didn't even think about that as a job opportunity.
Yeah.
But that opens a whole other door for me that really excites me and something that I might want to do as a career path. And ultimately, I had this idea of what would it take to truly try to maximize that? How do we get more people, more professionals into the classroom, connected with educators and advisors so that they could bring their real-world experience to advise, whether it's speaking into a classroom, whether it's working with a teacher and helping them understand what are the real-world ramifications for the curriculum that they were working on, whether it's becoming an advisor for a student group or that kind of thing. But again, that whole idea of how do we bridge the gap between industry and education.
Absolutely.
Everybody talks about it, the need for that. Well, so then the idea was, what if we created a platform, an online platform that was able to make it really simple for educators to sign up and create an account, and to go on there and search for professionals who have already gone in and created an account with all of their information, the industries they work in, their professional background. How do we make that as easy as possible? And so we created Access to Experience. So A2E, accesstoexperience.com.
Right.
And we actually, believe it or not, the website started about 4 years ago. Where we initially came out and we created the website, and I'm lucky that I own a web development company called 7-2. That's one of my other businesses that I have. And so when we had some extra time, we then started building this platform. And so we used all of our expertise to try to go and create this. And so then we did. And then I had to, and then I went to the organization in town who I knew cared deeply about education, and that was Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Right.
So about 4 years ago, I went to them and said, hey, we're developing this. I'm really passionate about it. I want to help teachers and advisors. I want to help professionals who are excited and interested in helping education and try to make that happen. And they were like, yes, yes, yes. We are in. We want to help you. We love this idea. So about 4 years ago, we got together, started it, and kind of got it going. And we really did have a good launch. We had some great things happening. And we had a number of people using it. I think there were over 150 educators on there. There were almost as many professionals as well.
Right.
I think we had 30 different industries that were represented.
That's
and
amazing.
we were creating a lot of connections. I think close to 300 connections over the last 2 or 3 years were actually made for educators reaching out and bringing professionals into their classrooms. And so it was beautiful. I was ecstatic. That's good. Well, I'm an entrepreneur, and some of the things that is faults of mine is I get crazy busy with a number of different things.
Sure.
Own a number of different companies, and so I've got my hands in a lot of cookie jars, which I like, and it's the way I do it. But sometimes everything doesn't get the attention that it certainly needs. And so Access to Experience was going. It was moving. GSI was involved in helping make that happen. Workforce Development Council back then was actually involved as well. And we were kind of doing this thing, but kind of over time, it just kind of lost a little bit of energy. And that I blame that on me. I'm busy with a lot of stuff. But I was still involved with Greater Spokane Incorporated when it came to some of their boards and things like that. I'm actually on the GSI board of trustees, on some of their educational committees as well. And this kept coming up. Like, we still need this. This is incredibly important. We've got to put energy behind this. And so for my point, having owned a web development company and all that, understanding the internet, I was like, well, that's great, and I'm with you, but I think we need an update. And we've got to figure out how do we update this. We've got to make it mobile compliant so people can access it really quick and easy on their phones. We've got to make it easy for everybody. And so as we talked more about it, and we were in some work groups at GSI, we're like, hey, we've got to find a way to make this happen. So we were able to parlay some money and find some ways to do some updates to it. And so we are just launching the whole new and improved Access to Experience.
Wonderful.
It's going to be fantastic to have out there. It is a lot easier to use. It is a lot more focused. We're making it as easy as possible for professionals to create their accounts. They can use their LinkedIn accounts and pull in all the information from that, so all their business information is there. Making it as easier for teachers to be able to go on and search and then invite those professionals to make connections with them. And so I'm excited. And so Greater Spokane Incorporated is right there next to us and making this thing happen. Our partners at the Workforce Development Council as well are behind us and are there partnering to make this awesome. And so we're kind of in this rebirth, if you will, this new stage. We're all super excited about it, and we're kind of like saying it's about time to kind of scream from the rooftops again, like, hey, we're back, we're as good as ever, and we really want to kind of share with everybody kind of what's going on and why this is important for you.
Sure. And it seems, again, from the education point of view, I mean, it is so important to have that relevance for the kids, you know, as you kind of come in to be able to say these are career pieces. And I would imagine as career-connected learning becomes a focus, you know, GSI is really interested in this, and that is part of the plan to really use this to help with one of those goals, whether it's Spokane STEM Network or GSI, but thinking about that career-connected learning and building that bridge.
Yeah, I think the really exciting part is that it's obviously focused on our community here, but it's really connected across the state, what the state is doing around career-connected learning, and to showcase a tool that's really on the ground helping with creating these opportunities for kids and for the connection between industry and education as well. So as we look at creating those new connections for students to really see their curriculum and classroom learning come alive with the real world connection, this tool showcases how to do it in a simple, easy way to build those relationships and opportunities.
So Eric, I use this example a lot. You know, I have friends who are teachers, and a few years ago they were teaching shop. Shop was was something we had done for years, and the curriculum's changing. There's new things happening. They're saying, hey, taking a lot of our shop teachers and turning them into engineering teachers. Awesome, STEM. It's incredibly important. We need this. Big deal. But a lot of them don't have that engineering background, and they're doing an amazing job of bringing out the curriculum and working through it. But if we can find a way to help them connect to engineers that are out there doing this on a day-to-day basis, and then that they can then start to talk between the educator or the advisor and the professional, and that teacher can say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you give me some feedback? What do you think I should do? Do you have any real-world examples I should offer? And all of that. So not only can we create this connection between the educators and the advisors and then the professionals, just to make curriculum better, to make the in-classroom kind of work better, but also then and get those professionals to come in and say, hey, let me come in, tell you what I do, tell your students what I do, And it can be really eye-opening for kids to when they actually hear that from that professional, when that person comes in and explains how they got there, right? So there's a path to this. It's important that students understand what that path is and how do you get to this. So we have those professionals talk a lot about, well, this is what I did for education, and this is how I got through that and what that looked like. And we have them explain what does a day-to-day look like, and what are they doing, what are the problems they're solving in the world, how is it relevant to that. That's important. And I love kids will ask, like, well, how much money can I make? That's a great question. And we tell our professionals, give ranges and that kind of thing. That's right. But these are relevant things that a lot of students do. And in our other business at 7-2, being a digital advertising agency, one of the things we do is we build games. We build games for Nickelodeon and Disney and things like that, right? So when we bring kids through and we show them what it takes to build a game, and we show them the programming and the design and the writing, the voiceover, all the things that go on, a lot of these kids' eyes light up, right? Because I love video games. Oh, yeah. I love playing video games. I never thought of designing, developing, programming. I never thought of that side of that. And I'm really interested in that. And so then we talk about what it takes to get there and what that looks like. But it's one of my favorite things is when you see a kid like go, I didn't even think of that. Like, that's great. Like, if we can make those connections and then start to talk about what is the pathway to get there, it's beautiful.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that kind of goes along with that is, well, okay, number one, the idea of being able to see the kids' face light up. They all of a sudden see themselves in here. It becomes an option. It's that concrete from the theoretical that kind of goes along with it. It's like, oh, I can do this, But I think that this is the piece that we may talk about, but we don't always talk about that pathway piece. What do you have to do to get there? How come this math over here is actually relevant, even though right now you're looking at it going, when am I ever going to use this? The famous line.
And you hear that engineer talk about, I use that equation on a day-to-day basis.
That's right.
Like, wow, there's a real application for that. Okay, that makes way more sense.
And in order to get to that, you have to know this math piece over here and so on.
And telling them is one thing, but then showing them and inviting them in, walking them through, it just makes it so much real.
And I think that's the power of access to experience, is being able to start to connect those business professionals and getting the kids there, if that's part of it, or even bringing the professionals into the classroom to be able to talk about, what those pieces and what the work is, but then what the pathway is as well, trying to get the kids excited about some of the options that are out there.
One other opportunity, like I kind of mentioned earlier, but like, hey, we're looking for someone to lead our computer science program and advise these students.
Right.
A teacher can reach out to somebody in the IT field and say, hey, would you be willing to come into West Valley High School and be an advisor for these students? And if we can help make that, because if you step back and think of somebody, a teacher who says, I don't have those connections, where am I going to find someone to do that? We've given you the tool to go out, be able to search, find out. So we're working really, really hard. I mean, for the tool we know to be successful, we've got to go out and really shake the trees with all of the professionals and a lot of our employers out there, certainly within the STEM fields, but really across the board, and say, hey, we would love it if we could have, your teams look at people signing up and becoming a part of this, so that we can populate that database with a lot of different people. I mean, if we were at 30 industries there, I'd love for there to be 50 industries and 500 people on there that are willing to come in and do this and make that happen, and then go and talk to all of the schools around, everything that the Workforce Development Council is doing and the advisors there, and say, hey, now you have the tool to go in and find these people to come in and maybe speak within a seminar that you're doing, or be that, ask you can be an advisor. I've seen people reach out for internships, right? So the career connected learning opportunities for these kids to actually, it's great to have the person come in and speak about it, but like, hey, do you do anything where you allow a student to come in and job shadow? Job shadows are incredibly important. And if we can help make job shadows happen, right, by getting the chance for more kids to possibly get into somewhere. And we talk about this idea of their eyes lighting up and getting super excited about being passionate about it, but we don't talk about the other side. What if you thought you were really excited about being an architect, and then an architect comes and speaks, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that.
That's right.
That's good to know. Okay,
that is good to know.
That's great. We're just helping narrow that down, and for them to really truly understand what they're passionate about and what they can maybe move into.
That's great. So I tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then let's get maybe we can show what access to experience looks like, a2e.com, and we'll get on there and we'll take a look at it. But let's head to a quick break, and then we'll be right back.
They say it takes a community to raise a family. It also takes one to build a business. I came to Spokane 12 years ago as a Whitworth student, and I planned to leave after graduation. But the more I got to know this community, the more I wanted to become a part of it. My husband and I have built our business in Spokane, and now we're raising our family here too. We operate a consulting company that provides creative business development strategies. Our approach is holistic and dependent on intentional connections and relationships. And no one understands connections and relationships better than GSI. They direct momentum towards investments in our community, provide resources that help business leaders connect, and they're dedicated and passionate about making Spokane great. GSI gives me the confidence to build my business here because they believe every organization, even a small one like mine, adds big value to our community. With GSI's help, Spokane will be a place my son will want to build his career too. I'm Eva Marquette, owner of Freshview. We're creating something greater with Greater Spokane Incorporated.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
And welcome back to Education 101. Again, we're talking about access to experience. And before the break, we were talking about some of the pieces that go along with it with Cassidy and Tyler. And so we talked too about the idea of, I think it's time to show what this looks like, what the website looks like, and what the platform is, so we can kind of start to get an idea, and people out there who might be listening and watching can kind of can get on here and do some volunteering. And from an education point of view, find some volunteers to be able to bring it into the class.
So this is where people would go, come onto the website, watch a video about what it is, and better understand kind of what we're trying to accomplish here. And then also there's some testimonials of people that have been using it and working with it over the years that love what we've been creating. You see some of the partners that are actually on there from the Washington STEM or Spokane STEM and the Career Connected Learning and everything that GSI is doing, the Workforce Council is doing. And then you'll see actually the Getting Started button, and that's really it. Like Get Started, and that's where you go on and you actually can sign up as a professional, or you can note that you're an educator, and there is a little bit different questions for each, right? So kind of what we, if you're going on there and you're signing up as a professional, we're going to ask questions about what you do, and right, so that we have this index that a teacher can go and search on and be able to find you. And that's what we're trying to ultimately do, is make it as easy as possible for these educators to go on there once they've created their profile, to go on, find somebody, and then start making a connection and reaching out to them. And the platform allows them to do that. They connect through there. So they see a profile of a professional, and it says, get connected, and they click that, and then it's they send messages through the platform to one another.
Through the platform to one another.
Yep.
So it makes
they can invite them in or pose a question or whatever straight from the platform.
Right. And the professionals notified them through their email that they received a message from an educator.
So it seems really easy, hint out there, to be able to get signed up for this. I think in the beginning you talked about, in the beginning you had, what was it, 100 connections, something like that, 300 connections, and but really trying to build this up and making it fairly easy, like we just saw, I think is one of the ways to actually make that happen. From the business side, you said that there's a lot of questions that they ask. I would imagine that there's some intimidation from a business professional to go into maybe a classroom, and So I think at the break I said it's something I do every day, so it's normal for me. Mm-hmm. What kind of suggestions or so on do you have that as somebody's watching this, thinking about signing up, and just like start sweating as they think about it?
Yeah, oftentimes we do see the kind of intimidation factor of going into a classroom or conversing with students. It's not in everyone's wheelhouse that day to day. So the exciting thing that I see through this platform and through other programs is seeing the industry and professional come alive when they actually interact with the students and learn about what they're learning in the classroom and how that relates to maybe what they want to do one day, and how they the industry professional can bring in their knowledge, expertise, passion, and connect with students on a whole different level than they might have thought before. Right. And they're giving back to their community. I mean, that's our future talent of Spokane and the region, and they get to really encourage them in searching those passions and figuring out their own pathway.
I mean, at the end of it, we talk about being, when they come in to present, be very, be simple. It doesn't, you're not wowing anybody. Like, be honest, authentic. Talk about your experience. It's good to have maybe a presentation or something like that. It doesn't have to be this 40-page deck of slides. It could be really simple about, kind of what your start was and what your passions were as a kid. A lot of these people say, well, I was really interested in baseball, and then I got into this over here, and that's okay. Those are good. There's really no wrong answers in terms of when you start to kind of unwrap what you do for a living and how, what excites you on a day-to-day basis, what gets you up in the morning, why do you love what you do? And I always say, in reality is, for anybody that's presenting, don't expect to, connect with 30 kids. It's just not... No. They're not all going to be just blown away by what you have to say. But there's probably 2 or 3, and they're probably sitting in the back corner or something like that. They're like, wow, I didn't even think about this. And I have, thankfully, because I do speak in a lot of classrooms, but I have heard some wonderful stories that teachers have come back to me and said, Tyler, this gal ended up going into this field because you came in and spoke about it, and now she's really doing a great job there. And that's awesome. I love hearing that you think that, wow, I influenced that person to get into that, and now she's going after something, computer programming that she's passionate about. There's just nothing better. I mean, like Cassidy said, that chance to give back, the chance to be a part of something, and it is a very... You can make it as simple as going into a classroom and doing one speaking engagement to as complex as you want, getting involved and like we said, just, advising a group or coming to career fairs or. You see people get a little taste of it and they get a feel for like, wow, that was really cool, and I know I am making a difference, and then they want to get more. I can do a little more.
It's beautiful.
I love seeing that in people.
And it sure seems like there's a lot of different options. From an educator's point of view, I would think that it doesn't just have to be bringing someone into the classroom. It could be, I would imagine you could do webinars. I can imagine, career fairs. I can imagine.
And that's a great thing about kind of the revamp and redesign of the website is that the business professional can select the different opportunities that they're willing to give and offer. So whether that be a classroom speaking or volunteering at a career fair, they can select that on their profile, and then the educator on their searching and their connection, they can search that keyword, and then they can be connected via that route as well.
Which is huge.
It's cool. Huge. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just trying to empower teachers to find these professionals and make that connection, and then start a dialogue. Man, thank you so much. I'd love to talk to you about this, and can you give me some real world examples? And then if it goes into bringing them into the classroom or being any of these, great. But just giving teachers that resource is incredibly important. It goes back to what I said in the beginning of like, hey Tyler, thanks for speaking to me, but can you give me all the names of all your friends? It's like, and they're looking for that. They want that, and we're trying to find the easiest way we can to enable that for them, and access to experience really helps do that.
Absolutely. And again, it's A2E.
.com, the letter A, the number 2, the letter E.com, or access the number 2 experience.com.
Either way. People there.
Absolutely.
We're always looking for more businesses to get involved and provide their time and expertise. So
absolutely.
Just if I could expand on that, the idea of doing if a business wants to get involved and say, have us come in and speak and say, I'd love for you to talk to our employees, or hey, we'd love to send out an email or something like that to our employees. Can you give me some information on what it is and a link to where where they can go and sign up and get these employees to be able to get onto the site. And I think it's good for employers to recognize the importance of that community connection.
Absolutely.
Right. So we have with our Company 7-2, we have some really great relationships with the computer science teachers and professors at Eastern Washington University, at Whitworth, and things like that. And so because we get into their classrooms, because we go speak to them, they call us and say, hey, I've got a real up-and-coming star programmer. She's amazing. You need to hear about her. That's great. And there is a real genuine payoff for the business to get involved. And as we talk about starting to build this pipeline, and if you are proactive and start to build that relationship and they know about you, then that can really help from a hiring standpoint. And that's huge as we see so many of these job openings that are expected over the next 5 years. The number is 740,000 or something like that in Washington State. And so, I mean, we definitely need to do everything we can as businesses to get in there and make sure that they know about our business. We can stand out so that we can get those top talent. Absolutely. And the more we can get them to understand what we do and how we, what is valuable for those students to know, we're only making those candidates better. I mean, it really is helping.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we would also love to come talk to school districts as well, or schools with staff meetings, getting the educators aware of this tool.
So they know it's
such
there.
a valuable resource.
Absolutely. Well, I truly appreciate you guys being on the show today. Again, what a great needed platform tool that's out there. To be able to build that bridge between business and between the education world. So it can really benefit some kids and some teachers out there. So Cassidy, Tyler, thank you guys for being on Education 101. I'm your host, Eric Wolfram, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.
Education 101 is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Education 101 is brought to you by our friends at STCU. Ask Eric a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.